Hello everyone, welcome to the TriStar Gym channel. All right, I think I got everything live and going well. Please let me know, give me a thumbs up if we have the sound, if the sound is playing. Give me that thumbs up, let me know that you hear me loud and clear. And once you guys give me that thumbs up, we're going to talk about Justin Gaethje versus Khabib. What an incredible fight. Thank you, Gaines. Thank you, Zeke. Harry Repita, thank you very much for giving me that thumbs up, letting me know that you hear me loud and clear. All right, guys, what an epic fight. What an epic event. The main event, Justin Gaethje versus Khabib. Khabib goes 29-0. A perfect career with a storybook ending against a very worthy opponent, finishing Justin Gaethje in the second round with a triangle. Finishing his career off his back, no less. Of course, he started on top. What can I say about that performance by Khabib? Well, the first thing I would say is just wow. Wow, that's my assessment of his performance. Wow. That is, if I could put it in one word, it would be wow. It was amazing what he did. He started pressuring Justin from the beginning. Justin, known as a pressure fighter, getting pressured. His striking was getting pressured. Now, so many people were not so happy when I said that Khabib and Justin's striking, if you remember the pre-fight analysis, I said Khabib and Justin Gaethje's striking is going to be quite similar. It's going to be very tight. The wrestling is going to be tight, challenging for Khabib, but Khabib has the edge. But when it comes to the ground, it's going to be light years. Khabib's going to be levels and levels above. And a lot of people didn't think I was correct about the striking. They thought that the striking was going to be Gaethje. You know, people were writing me, Coach, look at his striking record. Look at his knockout record. Look at all he's done striking-wise, statistically. Yes, because he spends all his fights. Justin spends all his fights standing up. He doesn't do any grappling attacks. Okay, he's all stand-up. So for sure, his statistics are going to be more alluring. However, when we look at Khabib, the problem with Khabib, why he gets criticized so much for his striking, is his mechanics are not clean. But mechanics is only one thing. Mechanics is only one criteria. Khabib's timing is amazing. Khabib's power is amazing. Why do I can't wait to open this up to comments and questions later, but why do you guys think Gaethje was backing up so much? Gaethje's backing up. We're going to talk more about Gaethje's strategies, which I think were really, really, he did a great job. Gaethje did what he could. Gaethje was backing up. Backing up anywhere near the fence is a recipe for disaster. He had no choice. Okay, let's recap the striking in round one. Gaethje landed about 5 powerful low kicks. They're all connected. He landed 5 powerful low kicks. He landed 1 good overhand right and maybe 2 hooks. One of them was very significant. So I would say 2 really good punches. Okay. Justin Gaethje was doing very well in the standing. On the Khabib side, Khabib landed a very significant knee to the head. A very significant knee. Made the strike. I had Justin scoring more, a little bit busy, but Khabib pressuring. It was hard to call. And then that knee came out and I was like, ooh, now it's even just harder to call. You know, those leg kicks, that knee to the face. You had Gaethje with the leg kicks, and then you had that very powerful knee to the face by Khabib. It made a very hard round to call up until that point. Okay, I'm sure, like me, everybody out there gave Khabib round 1. He got the takedown, secured the top position. Almost, he went for the armbar. He had a submission attempt. I don't think anybody's gonna argue the Khabib won round 1. I'm talking about just before the takedown. It was all striking. 2 or 3 failed. Actually, I should say 1 or 2 failed attempts for a takedown for Khabib. I'm talking about the first half of the earlier part of round 1. Before Khabib took him down, he had failed maybe once or twice. But Khabib also landed 2 strong front kicks. A good one too. I mean, Khabib was busy, just as busy as Justin. It was close. If I was gonna judge that round, up until before Khabib takes down Gaethje, and you ask me who won the striking, it's 50-50, guys. It's too hard for me to call. It's just too tight. Very hard for me to call. I did like Justin's leg kicks. I might have given it to Justin. I might have given him the nod. Now, again, I'm talking about before the takedown. Once Khabib took him down, mounted him, and went for the armbar, and there's no way anybody can argue that Justin won that round. He did not win that round. He lost that round bad. He lost that round hands down. If I showed that round to 100 judges, 99 judges are going to say Khabib won that round, okay? Round 1 was a dominant round from Khabib. Why? Khabib landed as many significant strikes, and Khabib pressured him. He pressured him. The pressure was incredible. Plus, he got the takedown, the mount, the submission attempt. It's too much. It's just too much. We got to give him an easy 9-10. Here's the other thing. Gaethje started looking a little bit, I don't want to say the word panicky, but he looked a little bit overwhelmed. And then when he got in his corner, Whitman said it beautifully. He said, look, calm down. Calm yourself down. I thought it was great advice, okay, because Gaethje's mind was racing. Why do I say Gaethje's mind was racing? Let me tell you why. Did you guys notice a lot of the punches that he threw? They were wild punches. Gaethje threw some wild punches. 2 or 3 that connected beautifully, but some of them were putting him off balance, fatiguing. I think Gaethje was fatiguing himself. He kind of reverted back to the old Gaethje that's a bit too reckless. Not the Gaethje we saw fighting Tony Ferguson. We saw the reckless Gaethje come back. Why did we see the old Gaethje come back where he overpunches? I think it's because he was overwhelmed. He went back to his most primal instincts. His most primal instincts were triggered because he was so stressed. This guy keeps coming forward. I'm hitting this guy. He's not backing up. I'm trying to, dance around. This guy won't stay off me. This guy, and also, here's the thing about Khabib. He's very awkward. When he gets hit, he does these like weird maneuvers. Then he comes kind of forward on you. And that zombie walk that Khabib was doing, that zombie walk, that forward action, that forward pressure, that movement, that jittery movement, it put Justin Gaethje, like it or not, whether the mechanics are clean or not, it worked. It backed Justin Gaethje up. Justin Gaethje threw some bombs and he missed. He hit air, and that's never good. Okay, so we're in round 2 now. Let's go to round 2. Round 1, easy Khabib round. Round 2 was more devastating, even more devastating. Khabib gets kicked once, maybe twice, on the 3rd kick. And Trevor Whitman wanted those kicks. He said, look, you're about 8 kicks away before he can walk again. The guy's going to be out. It was a risky game. It could have paid off big. I'm not saying it was a bad idea. I'm saying it's very, very risky. If you're going to kick that leg, you better make sure you don't get taken down. If you get taken down, you better have stellar jiu-jitsu. Here's the thing. I think Gaethje knew that if he gets taken down once, just once, he's going to get into a lot of trouble. He can't be, if he doesn't get saved by the bell, he ain't coming back up on his own, and he ain't coming out of these submissions. I think he knew that. And throwing a kick like that is a recipe for getting taken down. Khabib, sure enough, catches the kick, spins on the double, gets Gaethje down. And when he got him down, it was just the Khabib show. There was just no resistance, no ability to counter Khabib or make Khabib work in the least. We saw levels of difference between the two. And Khabib wins, puts on a triangle, rolls to his back, finishes the triangle, puts the squeeze on him. The tap wasn't seen by the referee. He was put out. Gaethje was put out. Khabib's looking at the referee, asking him, why aren't you stopping this? It's not very dangerous to be put out. I would have liked the referee to stop the fight a little earlier. I don't understand how the referee didn't see it. Maybe he was overwhelmed by the moment. I don't know what it was, but he did miss it. Lo and behold, Khabib is undefeated, 29-0, perfect career. Now, for those of you who don't know, you're not big into MMA, you may not have heard Khabib's father and mentor and trainer, lifelong trainer, has recently passed away. And for those of you who don't know, Khabib and his father are extremely close. I've had the pleasure of hanging out with both of them, talking with them before Khabib was mega ultra famous. He was famous when I spoke to him, but they were more accessible back then, and we were at a weigh-in and we were chatting it up and we were having some nice discussions. His father is such a beautiful human being. Khabib is such an incredible human being, and his father, when you hear him talk, you know how much experience he has, how much respect he has from all of us, everybody in the fight community. We all look up to him. We all love him. We all, when he doesn't speak a word of English, he always needs a translator, but whenever he talks, everybody listens. And he's a true trainer. He's a true trainer who knows everything. Everything he says is brilliant. And Khabib collapses. He just starts pouring out this emotion. The most stone cold fighter, the guy who's the most toughest, the roughest. He's there on his hands and knees crying. And we all know why he's crying. Today's his last fight. His father was there for his first fight. Today is his last fight. He fulfilled his father's dream. He fulfilled his father's, their goal, their mutual goal they had together. He fulfilled it. But his father wasn't there physically to celebrate with him or enjoy it with him. And I think that was a very difficult moment for Khabib. Just watching him, honestly, I couldn't, for me, it was even just me watching it, I felt super lost for words. I was just mesmerized. I was watching that and I was like, wow, what a journey. 29-0, and his father's been by his side since obviously before he can even wrestle. But throughout his whole entire amateur career, every wrestling practice, all the way up to maybe just the last 2 or 3 fights he couldn't get in the country. And here it is, his retirement fight, all those thousands of hours, all those decades of training, all those decades of competition. Here it is, this is the end. And, unfortunately, his father didn't make it to the end of Khabib's career. But what a brilliant finish. A storybook ending for Khabib. This wasn't just a regular fight. This was Khabib's last performance. Arguably the greatest fighter of all time. 29-0. I don't think this will ever be done again for at least another 50, maybe 100 years. A 29-0 in MMA, 29-0. It's going to be a long time before somebody does that again. It's going to be somebody who legitimately fights the best of the best, back to back, in the hardest divisions. Because MMA is not like boxing. Boxing, they'll give you names they know you can beat. They know you can beat this guy. They know you can beat this guy. And then, they build another guy on the other end. And then all of a sudden they have a mega fight. And the guy who wins, his record stays clean and he's a superstar. MMA is not like that at all. MMA, you're fighting stud after stud after stud, killer after killer. Like, to be a legitimate UFC champion and to be in the UFC as long as Khabib has been and not have one slip up, not have one loss, not have one fight. He didn't have all his fights were so dominant. It's incredible. So I think it's going to be a long time before we see another Khabib. With that said, guys, I'm going to open it up to your comments and questions. Let's hear what you guys have to say. Go ahead. Let me know what you think. Ask me any question you have on the fight, and let's do this. Unstoppable. Love you too, my man. All right, hold on. Somebody said, Coach, you're forgetting something. Hold on. Coach, you're forgetting who you've coached. That's from Rojogan. No, I have not forgotten who I've coached. Now, there's a lot of talk about Khabib fighting GSP. Listen, Khabib is retired. George is retired. I'm happy to keep them retired. If these two guys want to get together and meet up for one more fight, that's going to be between them and the UFC to put it together. I don't want to get too involved with this. These guys are retired. I don't want to call George up and say, hey, man, why don't you get off the movie set? Why don't you get off all these projects? Why don't you, leave the family for another 2 months? Why don't you get on all up on, put your personal life on hold? Why don't you, and let's do another training camp. I don't have the heart to ask him to do that. I think he has to do that on his own if he wants to do it. It's got to come in from deep down inside because that guy's written his story and that's it. He's done it. Khabib's done it, man. I don't think we can ask them to come back. They'd have to want to come back. And Khabib, I've recently listened to one of his interviews. He's saying how he wants to just be free as an eagle. Now, who would I be to petition him online and pull him back in? I wouldn't do that. Never. Okay. These guys, both Khabib and George, I think they deserve their retirement. I think it's something that they... if they ever want to do it, it has to come from them. I would never push any buttons. Never. Thank you, Wesley Carter. All right, boys, give me your comments and question, and let's try it. Victor Zapata says, avoided Tony, though. Okay, he's obviously trolling. Listen, he and Tony have been booked 5 times. 2 times Khabib couldn't make it or was sick or injured. 2 times Tony was sick or injured. I remember exactly what it was. The 5th time, the coronavirus canceled the fight. So the 5th time, no way. And then Tony lost to Justin Gaethje. So it didn't happen. It wasn't in the cards, guys. That fight was just never going to happen. Maybe these two as old men one day meet each other in the street and they scrap and we finally know. We finally find out. But I even highly doubt that would happen. I'm sure right before they start, the cops are going to come and crash the fight. That fight ain't just not destined to happen. And now it doesn't make even sense to do it because Tony Ferguson lost to Justin Gaethje, and we saw what happened when Khabib took on Justin Gaethje. It's just levels above. Khabib is likely to be beaten by BJJ? Question mark. This is from Amit. And do you still think that Tony could beat him? No, I do not believe Tony could beat him. After seeing what I saw last weekend, in my mind, I'm convinced that Khabib can beat Tony Ferguson. And Khabib knows all about BJJ. You need a guy who's just as good in wrestling, just as good as striking, and just as good as BJJ to have a chance to beat Khabib. That's what we need. Matt Delora, with all the disputing over GOAT status of Khabib among GSP, John Jones, etc., do you think if his father had not passed away, he would be on trajectory to land as undisputed GOAT, even though with the GSP fight? Job bless, coach. All right, guys, hold on. I got to maximize my screen here because it's very, very difficult for me to read. Hold on. I believe I know how to do this. One of you button pushers advised me once. There it is. It has been maximized. All right, now I can read this perfectly here. Okay, let's see what this man's saying here. Do you think if his father had not passed away, he would be on a trajectory to land as undisputed GOAT, even with a GSP fight? I think what you're trying to tell me here is he retired because if his dad hadn't passed away, he wouldn't have retired. And if he beat GSP, would he be the undisputed GOAT? If he beat GSP, I think he would be the undisputed GOAT, no doubt, because he would have beat the greatest welterweight of all time, and he's a lightweight. If he beats the greatest welterweight of all time. Now, people have won double gold. It's happened. But did anybody ever beat the best ever in the upper weight class? I would say DC did it, but Miocic, he is the best ever heavyweight, but heavyweight is far more volatile of a weight class than any other weight class, right? You don't see a guy be heavyweight world champion for 8-10 years, let's say. It's just never going to happen. It's just rarely happens. If you defended the heavyweight title twice or 3 times, that's amazing. 4 times is incredible. You know, you don't have a Anderson Silva of the heavyweight division. You don't have a George St. Pierre of the heavyweight division. You don't have a Khabib of the heavyweight division. You don't have a type of guy who wins fight after fight after fight after fight, who's a dominant champion. You just won't. It's so unlikely because one punch is lights out at heavyweight. Heavyweight is so volatile. Okay, here we go. Okay, guys, I am just doing questions on Khabib versus Justin Gaethje. There is so much to dissect in this fight. There's so much. My question to you guys is why did he seem so frantic? Now, he's a great fighter. I have a tremendous amount of respect for him. But normally he's cold as ice. Normally he's so calm. He's so composed. He's been in countless wars, highlight real fights. But he seemed flustered. He seemed almost like he was overwhelmed. And I think that Trevor Whitman noticed that, and Trevor did a great job calming him down. He did a great job telling him to relax. This is not the way to win this fight. Freaking out is not going to help you. And Khabib was calm. Khabib was having fun in there. At one point in the fight, Khabib landed a 1-2 and he was kind of pointing at him and he was kind of like gesturing, you know, he's kind of like trying to get in his head a little bit. And he was cool. He seemed so cool. Khabib looked really, really relaxed. How do you rate Khabib's jiu-jitsu? That's from Tuni. Tuni, I rate it as world-class. He's a world-class grappler, world-class black belt. He can go into Abu Dhabi and do great. Could Khabib have become champion if he never used his ground game? That's from Connor White. Look, I think that eventually he would have some very hard fights standing up, and he would eventually lose the fight. If you're trying to tell me if he didn't use wrestling and jiu-jitsu, No, I think he would get beat standing up. I'll tell you why, okay? In my opinion, I asked you guys, why do you think Justin Gaethje was so flustered? I have an opinion on that. I think that he knows in his heart of hearts, if he gets taken down, the fight is going to be a disaster. So he was thinking twice before throwing anything. He was so worried about the takedown. He was getting hit, and Khabib hits hard. Khabib hits hard. So he had this double problem, this double conundrum, this dilemma. Do I keep my hands low? Did you guys notice he was keeping his hands low so I could stop these takedowns? Or do I protect my face a little bit more from these bombs and knees and push kicks that he's throwing at me? These are very dangerous. Like, don't forget also in round 1, Khabib tried to punt Justin in the face. He had push kicked him in the body twice, actually once at that point. Then he did that punt kick that he did on Iaquinta, and then he did another push kick later in the round, and he looked like it hurt Justin. So Justin was just overwhelmed. Do I defend the takedowns, or do I defend against these strikes? That's the problem with Khabib. He comes at you. He comes at you with this major dilemma. I'm going to shoot in your legs and beat you up, or I'm going to hit you really hard standing. So you better decide which one you want. Do you want to get dropped by a punch, or do you want to get wrestled? And if you think we're striking, if you decide to get into a gunfight with me, guess what? Once we're gunfighting, Khabib's going to shoot an explosive double leg. Okay, let's see what else you guys got here for me. Is the fight against Gaethje revealing to Khabib's weaknesses? Watch my 666. No, Khabib didn't show many weaknesses. He showed mostly strengths. It was an incredible performance. Gaethje, he threw some nice kicks. He did some nice things, but he didn't look like he was ever in a position to win the fight. It was just a tough fight for Gaethje. He didn't seem like he could steal the show with the striking. Maybe it could have been that Gaethje lands a big punch and knocks Khabib out. I mean, I'm not saying it's impossible. It just didn't seem that he was dominant. It was too close. The striking was so close, and we knew that takedown is coming sooner or later. Just that after round 1, we're like, okay, look, that takedown, it's going to happen again. And that grappling it looks so bad. I think in round 2 now, Gaethje, he realized that he's just one takedown away from maybe getting finished completely. 2 judges gave round 1 to Justin. That's from Thierry Saint-Pierre. Thierry, I have a hard time believing that. Please tell me this is not possible. How could anybody give? Can anybody please confirm that? I got to look it up. I got to look up the card right now. I hope you're not joking. I hope you are joking. Hold on a second. Khabib versus Justin. Khabib versus Justin official card. Let me look that up for you. It cannot be that they gave him round 1. It's impossible. That was a total Khabib round. It's an absurdity if anybody would give Justin that first round. And I'm a big fan of Justin, okay? I'm a big fan, but nobody can give him the first round. He got mounted and almost subbed. All right, let's see here. Okay. Official scorecard. Hold on. I got to put scorecard. Let's see what they put. Oh my God. 2 judges gave Gaethje oh my God. 2 judges gave Gaethje first round. Wow. I can't believe my eyes. 10-9 Justin Gaethje. 10-9 Justin Gaethje. Are you kidding me? Oh my God. Sal D'Amato and Ben Cartledge gave Justin Gaethje round 1. I can't believe my eyes, guys. I'm stunned. I am totally stunned. It's just mind-boggling. I don't know. I think this is crazy. I think these people should never. These people don't know what MMA is. They've never seen an MMA. They've never. They're not MMA fans. They don't watch MMA. They're probably boxing judges that they work for the state. Oh, you gotta judge an MMA fight. What's an MMA fight? Whatever. Just check whoever you think won. Whatever. Just get in there. It's probably some old man who just in his day was boxing, kickboxing and boxing. That's it. He probably saw kicks and said, "Hey, I understand that." When Khabib was on top of Justin Gaethje, he probably has no idea what's going on. It was a clear win for Khabib. Round 1 was a clear win for Khabib. What an absurdity. Complete absurdity. Okay, guys, I can't believe my eyes. I can't believe I just read that. That's just crazy. Corrupt for sports betting. That's from Jose Carlos. I don't know. I think it's just got to be complete ignorance. Can't the commission do anything? Sal D'Amato is the judge for a lot of fights. Oh man. Anshula, I don't know. I can't. I think they should like don't use boxing judges for MMA. You should have to pass a test. You got to be able to show that you understand what a triangle choke is, an armbar is. There's got to be some criteria, because if you're giving Justin Gaethje round one, I mean, I'm sorry to say, but you just don't understand what MMA is. Coach, how did Gaethje do worse on the ground against Khabib than Conor, even though Gaethje has a wrestling background? That's from Aishfarul Islam. That's a really good question, actually. Islam is saying, look, Gaethje did worse than McGregor. McGregor did better on the ground. Well, listen, guys, I always tell you this. McGregor's jiu-jitsu is underrated. It's underrated. His jiu-jitsu is good. The reason why it's underrated is because he's always winning with flashy knockouts, and that's what people remember. But every time we've seen him on the ground, he's done well. Now, he's had some, he's been choked twice. He's been choked twice. Actually, 3 times in his career. And one time he was subbed with a knee bar. He's had some submission losses. Yes, I get it. He's been subbed 4 times. However, we've seen him, have some sequences on the ground, and he's shown competence in jiu-jitsu and wrestling. Gaethje is not going to be comfortable on his back. Gaethje is a good wrestler, but on your back, you see, wrestlers do a lot of ground, yes, but it's never on their back. So when it comes to building base and getting up to your feet, I think Justin can do really, really well. Not against Khabib though. Against a regular grappler / wrestler, Khabib is the number 1 gut wrench I've ever seen. Gut wrench is when you're kind of on all fours and I'm kind of squeezing your stomach and keep bringing you back down. I keep driving you back to the ground. A gut wrench like Khabib I haven't seen before. So I had no hope for Justin. I'm sorry to say, I didn't think Justin would get back to his feet. It will be very difficult. Now Justin on his back, disaster. It's got to be a disaster, guys, because I don't think he does a lot of jiu-jitsu. I think he's more of a wrestler striker, which I have nothing against. I think that's a great formula. You can become world champion with just wrestling and striking. Okay, and very, very little jiu-jitsu. Now, you can become a world champion with very little wrestling and a lot of jiu-jitsu and a lot of striking, sure. I prefer doing all 3. I like a blend of all 3. However, if you get put on your back and you have no jiu-jitsu, you're dead. Okay, you're going to get in a lot of trouble. Okay. McGregor versus Khabib 2. Impossible? ? That's from Chapinero. Chapinero, honestly, I think that's never going to happen. Even if McGregor goes on a tear, I think Khabib is retired. And I don't think Khabib wants to give McGregor even a chance for a rematch. I think he knows that it bothers McGregor. I think he knows that it burns him. I think he knows that the way McGregor reacted after the fight and all that, I think he knows that he just simply will never give him the time of day again. Now, I know that Khabib later said that, hey, if you beat Justin Gaethje, I think it was Justin Gaethje. He said, if you beat Justin Gaethje, I'll fight you again. I think Khabib has full confidence that he'll beat McGregor again. I honestly would tell you, if Khabib fought McGregor again, I would pick Khabib right away. I would say, look, it's a 70-30 fight in Khabib's favor. If we're talking about and in the distant, not so distant future, it's a Khabib fight. It's a Khabib show. But I don't think Khabib will go through another training camp, do all that to fight McGregor again, sit through all the talk, and I don't think he wants to do that. He doesn't need it, guys. He has unlimited amount of fame and respect and admiration. He's got more money than he needs. Like, the guy, what's the motivation? For what? What does he have to gain? Imagine he beats McGregor, but this time it's much closer. People are going to be like, hey, the first time was more, the cookie crumbled your way. But what does he have to gain? Imagine he were to lose. What is the gain? Then he'd have to fight him a 3rd time. What is there to gain? He beat him already. He beat Dustin. He beat Gaethje. He beat them all. There's just nothing to gain anymore. Okay. Who do you think is the next lightweight champion? That's from Tooney. That's a really good question. I'd have to give that some thought. I haven't thought of it yet. McGregor needs another lifetime to train for Khabib in the ground. That's from Marco Castro. Listen, it's not necessarily another lifetime, but he would have to get really serious. And I know he does a lot of training, but to reinvent your game, that takes a lot of discipline, and you need a lot of time. And you need a lot of testing to figure it out. It does take a lot of time. I don't know if it's another lifetime, but it's at least a few years. Mahed says, GSP Khabib, come on, coach, make it happen. Guys, I have no power to make that happen. And honestly, even if I did, I don't think I would. He would never give Conor the chance to disrespect him. That's from Sango. Sango, you know what? I think he's totally confident he'll beat McGregor again. He's totally confident. But why go through the entire process? It's a long process, guys. Fighting, booking it, negotiating, doing the weight cut. All that. It's such a crazy process. You already beat the guy. What are you going to do? Beat him again? Jump on his coat? Like, what's the point? What are you going to get out of it? You already did it. What do you think? Who do you think wins in Conor versus Dustin? That's from Gamer. Gamer, that fight's gonna need its own breakdown. That fight is gonna be a whole episode. I'm gonna do that soon. What is the date for that fight? Somebody throw that date at me. This is from Faraz Mahni. Coach, is there a style to beat Khabib? He felt like an invincible tank. Well, I think a good counterpuncher with, of course, incredible wrestling and incredible jiu-jitsu, but a good counterpuncher. January 21st. January 21st. Okay, guys, so in February, in December, November, December, I'm going to do a whole episode on that fight. That's an interesting fight. January 21st, we still got a long ways to go. January 23rd. Okay, well, I'm really looking forward to that fight. That's going to be a great one. Two great competitors. Will TriStar reopen this week? Guys, they shut us down again. I hate the fact that I have to go off topic, but they shut TriStar down again. Unfortunately, now they shut us down, I believe, for another 28 days. What can I do, guys? This is the government shutting me down. This is not on purpose. This is not a vacation. The coach ain't taking no vacations. I'm still working hard. I'm still, putting in the hours. However, I am officially shut down by the government. Canadian government, Quebec government has shut us down, or they're going to throw the coach in jail. They're going to find the coach, put him in handcuffs and throw him in jail. And none of us want that, right? So unfortunately, the gym is again closed. Sorry to say that. The good news is I'm doing more. I now have the time to do some instructional videos. If you guys look up here on my right, above me is the latest instructional video. My latest instructionals. Go to jujiclub.com, pick up some instructionals. I have reverse de la Hiva, guard pass prevention, butterfly guard, etc. A new DVDs instructionals coming out soon. I just also released my sons, my two boys. They have instructional on headlock escapes. Check that out on jujiclub.com. Learn your headlock escapes. Never let anybody headlock you again, especially if you have kids. Get that video, learn it, train your kids how to defend themselves against a headlock. The headlock is the most commonly used maneuver in children's training. Okay, they always do it. Whether it's a schoolyard or a jiu-jitsu club, they always grab a headlock. So I like to teach my kids a lot of headlock escape. So that way they stop headlocking each other. They start realizing, hey, every time I grab the head, the guy gets on my back. And I warn them. I say, hey, you grabbed the headlock, the guy took your back. You just gave him 4 points. Okay, sorry for that tangent, guys. Let's continue. When you going on the Joe Rogan podcast? That's from Delexan. Delexan, he is in Texas now. So maybe the next time I'm in Texas, I'll shoot him a message and see if we can put that together. But I am not booked to go to Texas for a long time. UFC's not doing shows in Texas no more. They're all in Vegas or in Abu Dhabi. So it doesn't seem like any time in the near future. Khabib's timing, distance control, was the best he's ever been in this fight. He stayed in perfect range while still closing Justin in with forward pressure, and that leg kick to takedown was amazing. That's from IA MMA Predictions. You know what? I agree with you. His distance control in the first minute was fantastic. In the second minute, it was good, but he was more aggressive. In the third minute, he was like a tiger, man. He was just forward, forward, forward. Why was Justin Gaethje backing up so much? I'll tell you why. Because he threw bombs at Khabib. When he hit Khabib, Khabib just kind of took a step back and came back forward, so he wasn't stopping. And a lot of times he missed, Justin Gaethje missed, and he felt like, whoa, I might get taken down here. I might get counterpunched. This guy hits hard. I think in my mind, the way I felt, the way I read Justin Gaethje's reactions is Justin felt that there was power coming from Khabib. That when he hit Khabib, Khabib took it well. It didn't have the impact that his strikes normally have on his opponents. We've seen Justin land right hands and drop guys. He dropped James Vick. He dropped Barboza. He stopped Tony Ferguson with his right hand. You know, that right hand, you go back and count how many right hands he hit Tony Ferguson with. It was bad, man. That right hand did a lot of damage in that fight. However, he hit Khabib with it. Khabib kind of moved around like he does, and it just kind of kept coming forward. It didn't seem phased at all. I think that kind of shocked Justin a little bit. Pound for pound, John Jones or Khabib? That's from No Riba. No Riba, I would say Khabib. I'll tell you why. He's never tested positive for any drugs. So for me, I don't see how in MMA a guy tests positive for drugs and we say, oh, he's still the champion and he's still on the top on the pound for pound list. Go to cycling, you get tested positive for drugs, boom, they kick you out, take away all your medals, take away all your sponsors. Like, that's how it should be. If you get caught taking drugs, how could you still be at the top pound for pound? It doesn't make any sense. Why in the world of MMA do we allow this? It doesn't make any sense. We're hitting each other in the head. The guy's on hormones, or he's on this, or he's on that. And please don't bring up the science. I don't want to hear any of it. They suspended the man for a reason. Again, I don't want to hear any of the science. I don't want to debate it. I'm not an expert in this. Bring out the experts. Let them decide. They did decide, so I follow what they decided. Okay, let them be. I know there's a ton of politics. I don't want to get involved in that. It's not an interesting topic. I'm not trying to avoid it in any way. It's just not an interesting topic. Right now, it's not for tonight. And just for that very reason, I'll put Khabib easily. I'll pick Khabib. Do you think you can out-grapple Khabib? That's from Skeptic77. Hey, we'd have to put it on the mat. I would love to roll with him. You know, I have a tremendous amount of respect for him. I know he's the man. I know he's a beast. I'm sure he'd do a lot of damage, but I would love to do it. I'd love to train with him, and I've trained with GSP for so long. And he reminds me a lot of GSP, and I would just love to do it just for fun. Did you hear about Khabib's broken foot? No, I did not hear about Khabib's broken foot. That's from SS. Me, I have not seen, I have not heard, I haven't seen any articles on it or anything like that. Okay. Do you think Chandler beats Tony? That's from Sandeep. Is that fight booked? Please let me know. I hope we can see Khabib in Montreal one day. That's from FBV. Well, he's always more than welcome. I have invited him myself. So if he ever comes to Montreal, I will be happy to host him. Justin said he's ready in 8 weeks. I'd say Justin, Chandler, Tony, Hooker, and then McGregor, Poirier for the vacant belt. I see Conor McGregor. I see McGregor dominating without Khabib. Tony, only guy who can beat him by sub. IAMMA, I would have to disagree. I think McGregor can win the title again at lightweight. Don't get me wrong. I just think that it's not going to be an easy road. Like, it's not a definite thing. Tony can still take it. Justin Gaethje is going to come back. Like, these guys are all very, very tough guys. That it's just hard to say that one guy's clearly above them all. We'll have to wait and see, because it's going to be very interesting. Now, I do like McGregor in the way the division's working out now, because Poirier, I'm just give you a quick preliminary look. Poirier is a puncher. Gaethje's a puncher. Those are the two big obstacles for him. And McGregor's a counter puncher, so it fits perfect. It feeds the machine that he is. You know, it goes perfect with his style. Okay, let's see here. We got another super chat. Brandon Dorman. Thank you, Brandon Dorman. You're a gentleman and a scholar. Oliveira is the toughest fight for McGregor as of now. That's from Sandeep. I think that is a tough fight, but Still, I think that McGregor's beaten more top 5 guys than Oliveira. Oliveira struggled in the top 5. He's a great fighter. He seems to have matured. He's a great prospect. However, it's still very tough to say. Islam Makhachev, that's from DOM. I really like Islam Makhachev. I think Islam Makhachev is a great potential to be world champion. However, it's unfortunate. People don't give him enough attention. I think Islam Makhachev is very possibly a world champion at 155 in the near future. He just needs a breakout fight where all the fans know him, they recognize him, and I hope that breakout fight comes very soon, because that is a very, very, very talented individual who can do a lot of damage in that division. Is the division going to be boring now? That's from Tahrajan. No, I don't believe so. I think the fighting is going to be just as exciting. It's going to be different without Khabib, but there's a lot of talent in that division. I think Hooker is a secret bad matchup for Conor, to be honest. That's from Akita. I agree. I very much agree with that statement. It is a tough matchup. I won't say it's a bad matchup, but I understand what you're trying to say. He's got the reach. He's got the length. He's got the cardio. He can go in the later rounds and keep fighting hard. We saw his fight. His last fight was an incredible performance. They fought tooth and nail all the way to the end. It's just such a high-paced fight. And we know that McGregor, sometimes he gets the job done quick, but when he goes in later rounds, I think that's a bit of his Achilles heel, and Hooker could possibly to get it the later rounds. That's, I think, is the way to fight McGregor. Find a way to survive early, because in the first 5-10 minutes, let's say, McGregor has done some stunning work. His striking is so polished, but after that, it seems that he becomes more that precision, that touch of death seems to fade a bit. Khabib broke his foot before the fight. I don't know. It's like 50, 100 years. In 5-10 years, I'll be known as the greatest cage anaconda Earl. Boy, I don't know what that means. I can't tell you. I have to look up. Did he have a broken foot before the fight? I have no idea. Salam, coach. Do you not see mounted triangles that often since they're risky losing top position? That's from Jake. Jake, no, usually, you know what? He did shoot it fast and early, but he kind of, if you look at Khabib's left arm, he had a shotgun grip. And when you have a shotgun grip, going for the triangle is not so risky. Okay, so if he didn't have a shotgun grip, I would say it's very risky. Personally, I would have kept the shotgun grip and I would have put the triangle on, but I would have stayed on top, because that shotgun grip. Go back and watch the fight. Look at what Khabib was doing with his left arm. That makes everything so secure. However, I don't think Khabib went to the bottom because he was forced there. I think he didn't mind going to the bottom. He has a very good triangle. We've talked about it before on this podcast. If you guys look at his fights before UFC, he's won by triangle in the past against good wrestlers. So he has a very good triangle. He's been doing it since he's very, very young. So he has complete confidence in his triangle, and that's what we saw. We saw a guy go to his back because he was so confident he had it locked in. Okay, guys. Who else wants to ask a question here? How long have we been going here? Let me see. What's the damage here? 43 minutes. We're doing good. Okay. Whoa, getting lots of messages here. Coach, where does Michael Chandler fit into the new era of UFC? That's from Bang Baba. I'm actually really excited to see Michael Chandler in the octagon. Very excited. I don't know how he's going to do, but it's going to be interesting. I would love to see him fight Tony Ferguson. That's a fight that's going to be very hard to predict. We're finally going to see, Michael Chandler against the best of the best in the world. Now, is he going to rise to the occasion, or is he going to be somebody that, if he loses 2 in a row and gets cut, everybody's going to be like, hey, he was overrated. But if he makes it, if he wins 2, 3, 4, 5 fights in a row, it's going to open everybody's eyes. This guy came out of Bellator. This is something that's going to bring a lot of respect to the Bellator divisions. Which it should be, because there's a lot of great fighters in Bellator. That's the truth. They're not as known, but they're great fighters. Hi, Coach. Coach, best pressure in MMA, Kobe or Khabib? That's from Poker Pete. I would say Khabib. I'll tell you why I would say Khabib. Because supposedly, well, from what I observe, I should say, I haven't sparred either one of them, but it looks like Khabib hits much harder. Much harder. Khabib's a much harder hitter, and Khabib has submissions. And Khabib's ground and pound is devastating. It's damaging. Now, we've seen Colby Covington get on top of people, but we haven't seen him lay the damage down. You know, yes, he finished... he did finish Woodley. Woodley had a rib injury, but it had a lot to do with the consistent attacks, the ground and pound. He did a good job. I don't want to say he did. He did a fantastic job. I shouldn't say good job. Fantastic job in that fight. The pressure was amazing. Kobe did a stellar performance. However, Khabib was just higher than that. Khabib hurts guys. Like, I've watched Khabib's fights, and I was like, man, I hope they stop this fight. He's going to kill this guy. When he was hitting Michael Johnson, when he was hitting Barboza, I was like, why aren't they stopping this fight? Like, I've never felt that way about a Kobe Covington fight. I've been like, hey, Kobe's dominant, Kobe's controlling, Kobe's busy standing up, he's doing so great. Yes, he's busy. But I was never like, my God, you got to stop this fight. This guy's going to kill that poor man. Khabib's giving me that feeling. He's giving me that feeling where I'm like, oh my God, like, this is just too brutal. This is brutal. And I remember Khabib, when he was on top of Michael Johnson, he was asking the ref, like, do you want me to kill this guy? Like, stop this fight. The power of his strikes, his ability to put on a choke. He choked out Justin, Poirier, McGregor. Who else? I'm forgetting. But he's got subs and he's got powerful strikes. He knocked down McGregor with a right hand. It would surprise me to see Kobe knock down a world champion. It would surprise me. Like, knock him down, not punch him till he starts bleeding. We've seen him do that, but one punch, one big punch, or a setup shot that floors a guy. It's just, you don't really see that from Kobe. How does Masvidal versus Kobe match up? That's from Muhammad. Muhammad, I would like Kobe in that fight. I really like Kobe in that fight. Hold on a second. I got super chats, but I don't know why I'm not seeing them. Oh, it's because I expanded. Oh, $50 super chat. Whoa. How do you reconcile Alfredo asked, put up a $50 question, and he wants his answer. He's asking me now. How do you reconcile determinism and God? How would God punish us for sins we have no control in committing? I have heard you talk about twin trains, but it didn't make sense to me. That's from Alfredo. Alfredo, my friend. You crazy guy. You put up $50. I'm like, what is this guy's going to ask me? He's going to ask me an MMA question. And all of a sudden he drops this deep philosophical question about determinism and free will. And we're deep in the episode. And you know I can't just change topic now and go on a rant for an hour about determinism and philosophy. Go back to those previous videos where I talk about those twin trains and think about it. Determinism is true, and God doesn't punish you for sins He forced you to commit. Okay? There is free will and there is determinism, and the two are not 100% exclusive. Okay? You can have determinism and you can have free will, and they're running parallel to one another. Okay? Rethink about that train. I explained it correctly. Go back and listen to it again. I explained it correctly. It's just not easy to understand. You have to listen to it a few more times. One day, I promise you, though, I will take a good 45 minutes on this channel. I will explain. I'll lay it all out on the table. Not because it's going to be a popular episode, or because I don't think people are that interested in philosophy. However, just because there's so many people asking me that question all the time. I think I just got to put it out on the table. Do an official episode where I just explain it. I sit down and explain to you guys the thoughts on determinism and thoughts on free will, and just let everybody just believe what they want to believe. Talk enhancing substances. Mr. Moss, I don't know what that means. I'm not sure what you mean by that. Do you think Khabib lost the first round to Justin? That's from Imran. No, I don't see how anybody can tell me. Guys, who thinks Justin won round one? Put J1. If you think Khabib won round one, put K. K as in kilo. Put K1. Let's go. I want to see you guys. How dare anybody say Justin won round 1? Come on. I know he was doing good. It was tight, but not at the takedown. The takedown on the mount and the submission attempt was the tiebreaker. It was an incredibly dominant round by Khabib. By just having that extra 45 seconds at the end of Khabib dominating, it was close up until then. All right, let's see. Who's going to say Khabib? Who's going to say Justin? Khabib. Let's see. Hold on. Khabib. K1. Gigi Cat says Justin won. My goodness gracious. Okay, K1. The bench press man. Well, that says Justin Gaethje. Well, let me tell you something. Your name is the bench press man. You're not the MMA man. Now, you don't do much MMA, I don't think. You might look real good, but you got to get in there. You got to see what fighting's about. Let's see. K1. Bravo. Justin won nothing. That's from C. Anderson. Look, Justin's an incredible fighter. Did an incredible performance in round 1. It was incredible. Listen, guys, he's fighting Khabib, arguably the greatest fighter ever. That was a tough order, man. He was fighting bravely. However, I don't think he won the round. Saleman 98. Justin won. Oh my God, Justin Gaethje won. Okay, listen, I would say 95% of you, or Khabib round 1. How could 2 out of the 3 judges give it to Justin Gaethje? I don't understand. I just don't understand. It's madness. It's complete madness, guys. Khabib won round 1. Take it from me, okay? It's not negotiable. It's not negotiable. Those 2 judges should be fired. If I was the commissioner, I'd be like, look, what the hell were you doing? Were you watching what happened? You're unfit to do this job. They're simply unfit to judge MMA fights. I don't know. I would love, you know what I would love? I would love to sit down on this podcast with the 3 judges and just lay it out on the table. Why did you guys give whoever you gave round 1 to? I want you to sit there. I want to watch the fight with you. I want you to explain to me where you think the fighter you chose that won the round, why do you think that person won the round? Why? I want to know. Okay, guys, I got super chats here. Okay, here, Fabian and Antoine. Question on striking. What are some drills and conditioning that I can use to increase my striking speed? Also cardio or strength. What's more important? That's Fabian. Fabian, it's hard for me to verbally tell you, but you know what? I have a striking instructional coming out soon. Stay tuned for that. I promise you it's going to be a great one. I promise you it's coming out soon. What are your thoughts on Khamzat Chimaev? Next superstar? That's from Zaki. Yes. I'm really excited to see how his career goes, and I think he's a phenomenal fighter. He's not all hype. He's legit. Okay, he's a real legit champion, this guy. Champion in the making. Why are the Dagestans are so dominant? That's from Reza Zul. Well, they have phenomenal wrestling. They have phenomenal sambo, ground game, jiu-jitsu. They have phenomenal boxing and kickboxing. They train up in the mountains at altitude, so they have phenomenal cardio. I mean, they also have a tough life, so they have a phenomenal, they have an iron will, a very tough mind. So put all that together, and what are you going to get? You're going to get a nation of warriors. What do you think about the Khamzat and Leon Edwards fight? That's from Ahmad Naved. I don't know if that's official yet. I saw like a YouTube thumbnail. If that's an official fight, that's a major step up. Leon Edwards is the most underrated welterweight. He is the most underrated welterweight. And I know we all think a lot of him. I think immensely. I think he's amazing. He's an amazing fighter. He's the most underrated welterweight. It's a big step up. It's a very big step up for Khamzat. I think he can handle it. I'm liking Khamzat, but we don't know enough about Khamzat. His trainers know a lot more about him than me. For me, he's still a mystery. We haven't seen him go in the later rounds. I've seen his fights before UFC. He's super dominant. Same thing. He throws a kick. He throws a punch. He drops guys, or he takes them down and mauls them. If he does that to Leon Edwards, I think he deserves a title shot. Like, if he can do that to Leon Edwards, it would surprise me. I think he beats Leon Edwards, but it's a tall order and it's a quick rise to the top. That is a shortcut to the top. If you beat Leon Edwards in a dominant fashion, I think you might find yourself fighting Colby Covington right after. Khabib had sorry, this is IAMMA predictions. Habib, I should say, excuse me. Habib had mumps, then broken foot 3 weeks before the fight. Dana confirmed. I noticed when triangling Khabib, broken foot, tapped toes, got stuck in the cage, and his face changed in severe pain. So you're saying that Khabib had a broken foot before the fight? That is, it's not something I heard before the fight. You guys are telling me this is news to me. That is amazing. If he had a broken foot before the fight and he had the mumps earlier, that is incredible. That is just incredible. Wow. Looking sharp, coach. Why, thank you, sir. You are a gentleman and a scholar. I appreciate that. Hold on a second. I lost my mouse here. I got into MMA because of Khabib. Everyone else is overrated. That's from Dal. Well, Dal, maybe you're overrated as well as a fan. Maybe you don't know as much as you think you know. Okay, here we go. We got another super chat. Adam Daly, can you speak to Khabib as a Muslim role model and the influence he is having on Muslims around the world? Yes, Khabib is a Muslim. He's a very religious Muslim. He's a great example for what Muslims can follow in his footsteps. The only downside is the sport is haram. It's forbidden for us to do this sport. Muslims are not supposed to be fighting professionally, punching and whatnot. Training is okay, but fighting is not. So there's a bit of a issue there. Now, what is positive about him is he has a great conviction, and he's such a great role model. Like, you see how he treats people, how he has such a great a character. How he was telling Justin, don't forget your family, don't forget your parents, like they won't be around forever, etc. He was talking about what's important in life at such a moment. Where you have other characters, when they win the fight, they just insult their opponents, or they're going to go post on social media all sorts of nonsense and insults and trying to brag about, what they have, how much money they have, what they've done in their life. And they're just constantly consumed with their image and their identity and who they are. And it's like, the rest of us are like, look, we're trying to share in this experience together. And this guy is making it all about himself. Well, it's ugly. It's unattractive. It's, if you want to be all about yourself, go ahead. Go on your merry way. Here, the rest of us, we're more interested in sharing with one another. And I find that that's Khabib's way. And that's a very strong adab, or good manners, or a good role model. Now, I know a lot of you are going to be like, yeah, coach, what about the time in Vegas when he jumped off the cage? Good point. Good point. But here's a good counterpoint to that. Here's a really good counterpoint. Somebody after the Vegas fiasco, and I know you've all seen it, but I'm just going to remind those who are maybe new to MMA. After one fight, Khabib jumped off the cage to attack one of the trainers. Let's not forget that one of the trainers in question was talking a lot online, insulting and crossing the line. I'm not going to get into it. And Khabib lost his nerve and jumped on the guy. But then somebody put a video together about the end of every one of Khabib's fights, save that one fight where he lost his temper and jumped on the guy. And at the end of every single fight in that montage, he gets his hand raised, of course, and because he's undefeated, right? And you see him hugging the guy, or being kind to the guy, or saying thank you to Eric, or just praising the guy. He's like the best winner you can find, except for that one instance. And look at what he did after the Poirier fight. He took Dustin Poirier's shirt, and he put the Dustin Poirier shirt on to show respect to Dustin. I thought it was incredible. Really incredible. Like, what a heart he has. It's something to behold. Okay, we have another super chat. Could Khabib defeat Usman if they were in the same weight class? That's from Rajdeep. I would say pound for pound, I would pick Khabib. Khabib is a finisher. He can finish a fight. It's just something incredible. At that level, he's finishing fights consistently. It is incredible. Roussel Churchet. I'm a white belt. Too much of a nice guy. I get close to subs in live roles, but let them go because I feel like I don't deserve them. Do you have any tips or books on developing a warrior mindset? That's from Russell Churchett. Russell Churchett. Listen, it's okay to catch and release in practice. That's fine. I want you to go do a tournament. I want you to go and do a tournament and compete. If competing scares you, I want you to go and compete. Get over that fear. It's very liberating. And you're going to get on the mat, and if you want it bad enough, if you want to win bad enough, you're going to finish that sub. And if you don't, and that guy gets out, and it's going to happen eventually. If you let guys go, they're going to get on top of you, and they're going to beat you, or they're going to score on you, and you're going to be like, I had that guy. And now look at this. I lost this match because I didn't have it in me to finish that armbar, finish that choke. It'll cultivate. Hurting hurts so bad. It will cultivate that instinct to win. It will help cultivate that instinct to win. That's my advice to you, Russell. Go and compete. In practice, don't take it so hard. You should let your partners go out. I do it all the time when I'm rolling. I'm like close to a sub. I just let it go. I just want to go to the next sequence. I'm just having fun. It's not that big of a deal, especially when the more you roll, the less you worry about those kind of things. But when it comes to competition, that's a different animal. Go out there and compete. Artemis, Coach, Khabib's kick and knee to the body, do you think it was part of his game plan to drain Gaethje's gas tank? And did it have an effect? That's from Artemis. I think it did. He landed 2 teeps. A teep is a push kick to the body, and 1 knee to the face. I thought that was a major part of round 1. And yes, I did think one of those push kicks to the body really hurt Gaethje. You saw his reaction. He didn't like it, the way he grimaced. And if you've ever been push kicked in the sternum or the diaphragm, either one is really bad. Can have a major effect on your cardio. Okay. What are your thoughts on black belt memory course? That's from Ahmad Javaid. Ahmad Javaid, you are looking at a graduate of the black belt memory course. I'm sure I think you're referring to Ron White's black belt memory course. I highly recommend it. I did it when it first came out. I'm sure he's made it a lot better since then. But I am a black belt in memory. I am a brain athlete. I'm a big believer in memory training. So I highly recommend the black belt memory course. I think you guys will enjoy it. And you got to be patient, though, because to really get a black belt, it's not true that you're a black belt. You could do the whole course, you're not a black belt. In my opinion, you're not a black belt. It takes 10 years to become a memory master. Now, I've only been training in memory for about 5 years now. So I would say I'm a purple belt in memory. And it has helped me immensely, especially now at this stage. Once you get to that purple belt level stage, in my opinion, 5 years of training memory, that should bring you to purple belt. Not really a course online that I finished it in a week, that course. Like, I was so into memory. I was like training in the gym, then going home and just doing the memory training. I was just like, memory. I was like wild with memory. And I got my black belt. But again, I had trained in memory before doing the black belt course. So don't forget. Okay, so I wasn't new. I was not new to memory training. So I did rush it, got through all the videos, did all the tests, and I did it all. And I got my certificate for memory black belt. I'm a black belt in memory, and but I'm still training hard in memory. It takes a long time to be a memory champion. Or I would say a memory expert, a true memory expert. Is 25 too late to learn jiu-jitsu and become a black belt? That's from Tuni. No. Actually, the greatest grappling trainer alive today, John Danaher, he learned at 27. And he's today, in my opinion, the greatest grappling coach in the world. So it's not too late. Okay, let's see here. Adam Daly, please speak about Iranian wrestlers and their pedigree. Also, how a culture of their transition into MMA would be like Dagestani fighters. Now, listen, I trained 3 Iranian wrestlers in my gym. Okay, all Olympians, all world-class wrestlers. They are bred to wrestle. You are correct. It's the national sport in Iran. They are bred to wrestle. I am training them now to fight MMA. So stay tuned. These guys are gonna shake up the scene. Very, very good wrestling. I watch them carefully when they wrestle. I wrestle with them myself. It's really incredible. Amazing. Will you compete in memory competition? That's from C. Anderson. No, I wouldn't. Honestly, I just don't have the time. I'd want to train for it. I just really don't have the time. I do it for my own personal benefit because I love to remember things. Okay, when I read a book, I put it down. I like to look at that book and remember what it said. When I go to a seminar or I learn something or somebody shows me a move, it's buried in here. When I watch a fight, I remember the sequences quite well. Okay, now here's something very important to understand about memory training. Like if you're watching a fight in a relaxed fashion, you're just going to remember pretty much as anybody else. If you apply the memory techniques, whether it's watching a fight, reading a book, or whatever, now you'll remember. Okay, and you ask me, 2 weeks from now, what happened? I'll tell you, look, this and this happened. Anyway, how do you know that? Listen, it's hard to explain, but I remember. But you have to apply the technique. Applying the technique to whatever you want to remember takes some energy. And if you didn't apply the technique, it's a blur. It'll be just as you'll remember just as much as a regular person. So it's not that easy. It's not it's not you train in memory for 5-10 years and all of a sudden you're walking around remembering things at will. No, it's not like that. You have to actively want to remember something. Who would win in a grappling match between Gary Tonin and Khabib? That's from Lowell Alexander. Well, look, if they're the same weight, size, etc., I would say because of the grappling rules, Tonin would have an advantage because he'll end up scoring probably. He'd probably play guard. His guard would be very hard to pass. Eventually, he might leg lock or sweep Khabib possibly, and he would score points. If we're talking about MMA, I think Khabib's ground game is going to be superior because of the punches and just the stand up. Obviously, in MMA, totally, it's going to have to be Khabib. But if we're, let's say, just saying MMA rules on the ground, let's start on the ground, I would give it to Khabib because he's going to end up on top and he's going to have the striking, and he's very comfortable defending grips, grappling grips to land his striking. So each one would win in his domain. Muhammad Baithi sent me €5, but I don't know why he sent me €5. I thank you very much, but I'm not sure. There was no question attached, unless I'm pushing these buttons wrong. Alfreda, your question just won't go away. I don't know. I cannot answer this question today because it's too long of a question. I hope you're not reposting it. Do you think Khabib would transition to IBJJF or ADCC competition? That's from Martin Colin. I don't think so. I don't think he has any interest in that. Don't forget, this guy's been competing since he could walk. I think it's time for him just to walk away from the sport and maybe just be a coach for fun every so often. Hopefully he finds a project that excites him, something he's passionate about, and he can spend his retirement enjoying himself. Salam, coach. I have a couple of years of Taekwondo and boxing training. What do you think of judo as my first grappling art? Any Toronto recommendations? Listen, I would start with jiu-jitsu personally. I would start with jiu-jitsu and wrestling. Judo is great. Judo is fantastic. If that's your thing, go for it. But if you're asking me, I would start with wrestling and jiu-jitsu. Okay, what else we got here? My eyes are burning from the light I put up. How can I get better BJJ from home? All the gyms are closed. That's from Adam Paul. Adam Paul, get some instructional videos. Look at this one up here. Go to jujiclub.com. I make them really cheap because I don't use any fancy gadgets. I just film it with my iPhone. Me and one of my partners, I put all the real techniques, hot world-class level techniques, and I give it to you guys at a very fair price, so you don't have to pirate them. Just buy them. They're so cheap that you just have to buy them. Use promo code JUJICLUB5. Get $5 off. It's the best investment you can do. You're going to get world-class technique for a very, very good price. Okay, I'm getting more super chats than I can handle here. Let's see, guys, what's going on here. Coach, do you think the prelim fight between Wood and Kenny was fairly judged? Wood lost, but I thought he won that last round. I didn't see that fight yet, guys. Unfortunately, I haven't seen the preliminary card yet. Since Khabib is so dominant at 55, why doesn't he compete at 170 instead of killing himself to make 155? Because you know what, if you went up to 170, it would be a lot more dangerous. The guys are bigger there. You know, he might get hurt. You know, he might not win as often. He might not be as dominant. So it's not always a question of not killing yourself. It's a question of winning and performing. I sent you an Insta message a couple of days ago. That's from Dal. Dal, so did 1,000 other people. So unfortunately, I didn't see your message. I apologize, and I haven't gone on Instagram in a long time, my friend. I rarely go on Instagram. I do go now. I have to start going again for sponsors and whatnot. But as of this point, I'm not really on Instagram. In the near future, I might have to get on there again. Do you know any good MMA gyms in Ottawa? Yes, actually, Zaki. Go to Evolution, BJJ Evolution. Go check them out. They're pretty good. They're great, actually. Coach, silly question. What if John Jones fights DC-sized I don't know what to say to that. But how should I drill them? With a grappling dummy or my pillow? That's from Adam Paul. Adam Paul, get the instruction. Find somebody, you know, get on the internet. Find somebody who's interested in training jiu-jitsu. Find another local that, you know, you could get some mats. And that's what I did. I used to grapple with my neighbors when I first started. Nobody knew what jiu-jitsu really was in Montreal. So just try to find somebody, you know, do what it takes. Get online. Find out who else is suffering from no training, no gym, and find yourself a good, steady training partner. Coach, what do you think is Khabib's worst matchup in the lightweight division? Should he not retire? Would he find the same success at 170? I think 170 is going to be a little harder because everybody's much bigger. The difference in size is very significant. There's no bad matchup for Khabib right now at 155. He beats everybody. That's my opinion. Jazakallah, Adam. Thank you. Jazakallah. Okay, what else we got here? Another super chat. Wow, it's incredible. Incredible. I know, it's the same one, just rolling back again. Okay, what else we got here, gentlemen? I love your instructionals. Help my Gracie Jiu-Jitsu schools grade based on stripes and the only get graded via gi. I love no gi. What should I do? I love your instructionals. Help my Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. Oh, it helped your Gracie Jiu-Jitsu. Okay, good to hear. They grade it based on stripes and only in gi. Well, you know, I understand that a lot of jiu-jitsu schools, they still do the gi system. I personally have dropped the gi system. I believe that you can do gi. We have gi at TriStar, but I do award belts now without the gi. So with me, if you're training under me, you can get all the way to black belt, even if you've never put on the gi. And years ago, I used to have some reservations to that. I used to say that, look, you have to know the basics in the gi. You got to know the collar chokes and a few things, and just do a year of gi and I'll give you your black belt. Now I've dropped those requirements. You just got to be a killer, whether it's gi or no gi. That's up to you. If you want to learn gi, it's up to you. I just find that the no gi movement is so strong right now. Everybody loves no gi. I haven't worn a gi in years. Like I just don't have the drive to do it. I love no gi. So you got to find the trainer that will allow you your black belt in no gi. That's what you got to do, in my opinion. Coach, what's your advice for a 25-year-old white belt? That's from Muhammad. Start training, my friend. Just fall in love with the sport. Enjoy yourself. Get on the mats and make the experience enjoyable, and you'll stick with it. Benefits, university benefit is training, studying philosophy. Kevin is asking me, what's the benefit of studying in philosophy? Well, You're going to learn to think, Kevin. That's my first answer to you. Does that help? You're going to learn to think. Now, look, everybody wants to do a diploma that's going to make them money. I understand that, guys. You all want to make money. We all want to look at our bank accounts, open our bank accounts and be like, oh, wow, there's a one and like a countless number of zeros and I'm just so rich. Wow, look how much money I have. I understand that. And it might not be for greed. It might be because you want to take care of your family. You want to put food on the table. You want to be able to go from one place to another without having to worry about how you're going to get there. I understand that you want to be able to be free and happy. And you might not want to be buying a bunch of Lamborghinis, but you want to make money, right? You went to school for 10 years or 10 supplementary years, and then you're like, what did I get out of it? Well, if you're trying to get rich, don't be a philosopher. Okay, if you're trying to get rich, become an entrepreneur, but don't go to business school. Just read and study. How did people get rich? Most people who get rich never went to business school. That's my opinion, guys. I'll tell you, all the rich people I've ever met, I always like, hey, how did it happen for you? Like, what did you do? Almost none of them went to school. Almost none of them went to school. They have like an average level of education, an average level here in the West. Okay, not a global average. Here in the West. 1% of the population of the world goes to university. Look, I'm a big believer in education. I'm a massive believer in education. However, education and money don't always go together. I think there was a time where very few people had diplomas. So if you had a diploma, you were unique. Therefore, you went in the marketplace and people with diplomas make more money. Today, every Joe Blow has a degree. Why? Because they turned school into a business. They lowered the standards and let's get more people getting diplomas. It's hot business for us. And now every guy's got a diploma. Now you got guys with engineering diplomas. They can't find a job. At least that's how the market is on our side here. The people who are making money are entrepreneurs now. They're creative. They're thinking outside the box. Now, as a philosopher, you can kind of sit back and kind of notice these things. Not that I'm an expert in economics, okay? But I kind of like, sometimes I'm like, hey, let's look at the business world. Let me see. How do I see, what am I seeing here? And I cross-examine the information that it gave me. And philosophy helps you think independently. It helps you think critically. It helps you think logically. It helps you become analytical. And that's very important. Like if I focused my mind on being rich, if I found a good opportunity, I think I can become rich. I think it's preparedness and opportunity. So I don't think it's just preparedness. I've seen guys who are prepared, man. I've seen guys who are like soldiers, ready for anything, and opportunity just didn't come. And I've seen people, or opportunity comes, they just weren't ready, and they squandered opportunities. It's when the two meet, man. When you're, excuse me, I know I'm banging everything around here. It's when the two meet. You've been prepping, you're ready, man. You're looking in the market. You're looking, you have different ideas. One day somebody tells you, hey, I'm ready to invest. You know what? I have an idea that I think is perfect for you. And all of a sudden, you know what's a great show? I watch every single episode. Shark Tank. Shark Tank is a phenomenal show. I'm telling you, I've literally watched every single episode. So I don't watch a lot of TV, but when I watch TV, I like to watch things I'm interested in. And one thing I'm interested in is entrepreneurship. Like if I wasn't an MMA coach, I was going to go into law. Like, to be honest with you, I was going to be like study philosophy, go into law. I wanted to pass my bar, get into law. And then of course, MMA took, took over my life and all that. But I would have ended up an entrepreneur. Like I think I would have got sick of law and went into business. And today I'm interested in business. I'm really interested in business. It's like it has a, and I've started many business, and I could talk about it every so often with you guys. I don't mind, but I've had many businesses and I enjoy them, but I don't have a lot of time for them. So that's why I always find a partner and I invest or whatnot. But I'm not a guy who's going to do day to day. I can't, I'm in the gyms day and night. That's my first passion. But I do enjoy hearing a good business story. It interests me. And that's what Shark Tank is. Some guy made millions or billions. Literally, some of them become billionaires. And how did they do it? What problems did they come about? What are the common questions the dragons are asking? Or excuse me, the sharks. Because there's another show called The Dragon's Den, which I also watch. Maybe not every episode of Dragon's Den, but many. I would say 90% of the shows. And how do these people get rich? Well, they solve a problem. They reinvent the mousetrap. And they scale. They find a way to, make $100 a week, and then they turn that $100 into $1,000 a week, and $1,000 a week to $100,000 a week. And they go through the same formula another successful thinker or entrepreneur did. And a lot of times, if you look really closely, a lot of these people were at the right place at the right time. It wasn't a crazy high level of intelligence. It was a high level of intelligence, or a good level of intelligence, and a lot of work and a lot of grit, sometimes patience. It's not always exactly the same formula. However, grit, patience, opportunity is huge. Opportunity is huge. Sometimes, there's this one story I absolutely love. It's this guy. He's like a regular Joe. His wife left him. He's sitting on his brother's couch, broke. His wife took half his things. He's miserable. She dumped him. And he's telling his story now, how he came up with this invention. And then he's sitting on his brother's couch, like he's low, man. He's rock bottom. You could tell by the way he's telling the story. The man is rock bottom. And he's sitting there and he's looking at his nephew. His nephew had a big sweater on and he kind of like rolled his legs in the sweater. Like his whole body was in the sweater. He was keeping warm. So he's like, business idea. I'm going to invent a large sweater that's made purposely large so you can bundle yourself up in that sweater. And I was like, man, if one of my brothers or cousins told me this idea, I would slap them. Like, what are you talking about, man? The Snuggie's been done. That's never going to happen again. And the drag, I can't remember if the Shark Tank bites on it. I think they do. I think they kind of give him like a petty little bit, or they kind of laughed at him when they saw his invention. They're like, this is crazy. But it was a very nice woolly type of, very soft looking type of cover. Nothing I'd never be caught dead wearing that personally. Okay. Like you'll never see the coach wearing something like that. But I could see my wife or, somebody, I could see a girl's getting into that or whatnot, but you got to be balled up in a little like Snuggie type thing. So I didn't think of it. And then one day I go to the major pharmacy chain here in my neighborhood. And what do I see? I see that guy's sweater. I see that guy's little, oh my God, the guy made it. He got on the shelf. Guys, to get on the shelf, it's incredible. Now, I don't know if he made it, but he got on the shelf, which is far enough, which is like, I'm impressed. I don't know if he retired. I don't know if he became a millionaire. I don't know what happened with him. But I can't believe that product got on the shelf. You know how hard it is to get on the shelf of a pharmacy? We have like these large pharmacy chains. We have a Pharmaprix here. It's a massive chain. Shelf space is like primo real estate. Everybody shops at Pharmaprix here. The guy made it, man. He made it that far. I was very impressed. And there are so many other great stories. And I think the secret of success, because you're asking me, hey, what did you get out of philosophy? Look, I was passionate about philosophy. I was very, very passionate about it. It wasn't a choice. It was pulling me. And that's the secret. Every time you find something that you're passionate about, ask yourself, hey, if this thing I'm really, really passionate about this, is there a way for me to make money with it? That's a secondary question. So let's say there was no way for me to make, I think I did make money with philosophy is what I'm trying to tell you. I think by illuminating my mind over the years, I started to think differently than others, and that brought me a lot of success. Did anybody ever pay me for writing a philosophy paper? No, I've never been paid for writing a philosophy paper. However, studying philosophy illuminated my mind, and people have paid me for my services in other businesses that I've built, and of course martial arts. But I was thinking differently than others. This is huge. I think this was a massive difference. Now look, here's the other thing. Any product because I'm a admirer of entrepreneurs. Like I admire that. So I love entrepreneurship, but I won't go deep all day long. I can't do that. I have another career, but it's my hobby. That's why whenever I get with a product or a sponsor, it's got to be something I absolutely love, because I would never be able to say it. Hey guys, check out, like for instance, TimTam.tech. I absolutely love TimTam.tech. I love it. I use the machine. I believe in it. I would never come here and tell you guys about a product I don't use. Like for instance, that Snuggie thing, if that guy offered me $100K an episode to put on, I wouldn't put it on. I'm telling you, there's no amount of money in the world, because it's not something I would ever wear. I wouldn't be caught dead in that thing. If somebody came up to me with that idea, I'd be like, no. Bad idea. But the guy made it, man. He got on the shelf. He proved me wrong. And I love to hear stories like that. Okay, guys, we are 1 hour and 24 minutes in, 25 minutes in officially right now. Let's take one or two last questions and end this episode. I think this was a fun one. But it's comfy. That's from Whale. Whale, you better not have one of those sweaters where you bundle yourself up on the couch. I really hope you don't have one of those. Please, have some respect. Hey, coach, do you need a big ego to be the greatest? That's from Pablo. No, I don't believe you do. Honestly, absolutely not. But honor and big ego is not, it's not the same thing. You know, you should have a respect for yourself, but you should not be egotistical. Coach, thank you for introducing me to Olivier Taza and Ethan. I read Oliver got his purple belt in 1.5 years. How hard do they train at TriStar? Inspiration. That's from Gemini June. Well, look, I did give Olivier his purple belt in about 2 years. But the reason why I gave him his purple belt in that short span, he was training with me for about I would say 6 hours a day, 3 hours in the morning, 3 hours in the evening. And then he was training on his own for another 2 hours, I would say. So he was like pulling 8-hour days. I can't keep track of the hours exactly. I'm just kind of guesstimating here. But he was spending the day in the gym. And he was subbing black belts. The time when I gave Ethan and Taza their purple belts, they had both sub black belts in numerous tournaments. I was shy to send them to tournaments as a blue belt. It was kind of like, let them wrestle the black belts. Let them go in the advanced division. I have no problem with that. But they were training around the clock. These guys were so committed that I felt they can handle it. And I'm glad they did. Now they're both brown belts, and they're the most dangerous brown belts in the world. So if it was up to me, I would give them their black belts. But because they did it so fast, I got to kind of make them wait, because, the tradition I'm coming from, under John and all that, he likes to make, he doesn't like to rush the belts. And I understand that. But in my opinion, also, if you're tapping black belts on a regular, if you're dominating and winning matches at black belt, you should be a black belt. That's the level you're wrestling at. That's the competition. And but I respect my trainer's opinion, and I understand that there are higher standards and different standards, and I gotta follow suit. I'm the lesser of the I'm less experienced, so I will just do as it's supposed to be done, in the way it's supposed to be done. Coach, you missed my super chat. Okay, I'm back. Wissam Zahabi, guys, my cousin has chimed in, put me $5. I be shumalek. How dare you pay your cousin $5? How dare you throw money at me like this? My cousin is saying, Wissam Zahabi, guys, if he's in your proximity, you have my permission to grab onto him and throw him down on the ground and make him cry for mercy. He just said, I'll pay you to wear one of those Snuggies. Now let me tell you a story about my cousin Wissam, my sweet cousin Wissam that I miss very much. Wissam, my son, my little cousin, Habibi Inta. Wissam used to come to my gym. Okay, he used to do my striking classes. And let me tell you something. Wissam's a good boy, but he has behavioral problems. Wissam, you're out there, you're listening to me, we're cousins. He has, he's the type of guy who would get in trouble at school, kicked out of class, kicked out of school, get into fights. Wissam, wherever my cousin went, there was trouble immediately. I don't care where we were, if we were at the park, the restaurant, whatever. Wissam, he got in trouble. So, some people said, he has a behavioral problem. He has this or that. I was like, you know what? That's fine. I can cure any of that. The doctors can't cure him. They can't fix him. Okay, no problem. One day he says, Coach, I want to come and train with you. Sweet cousin, come train. Come train with your older cousin. Of course, you're welcome. You're more than welcome to come train with me at TriStar. I remember day one, he came in and he broke one of the rules. I don't remember what it was. So, as a trainer, I gave him burpees. Lots of burpees. You guys might think, oh, yeah, so what, burpees? No, I'm talking about lots of burpees. I'm talking about 500 burpees, and you have this time limit to do it, or else it double. I was torturing the man. And every day practice would end with Wissam doing burpees, and everybody would watch him. Oh, Wissam got burpees. Yeah. And I would start him back to zero. I would torture him with physical punishment. I would torture my cousin. And he would get in trouble the next practice. And then he would show up a week later and he would get in trouble again. And every time I would find creative ways to punish him. I swear to God, I would punish this man. And then he went for like a year, not breaking a single rule. Not breaking a single. He was like a perfect soldier. Like he would come to class, train, and leave, and nobody even like. He was like, "Wow, he had such a peaceful transaction today with this gym. He didn't get beat up. He didn't get thrown on the ground. He didn't get punished. Like we almost didn't notice he was here. What happened?" And I was like, "Guys, those doctors, they can't cure him. Those psychologists, they can't cure him. Yet he comes to TriStar Gym, and we cured him here. The power, my friends, of discipline and martial arts." Now, Wissam one day he's going to write a book, and I'm sure there's going to be a chapter dedicated to our time at TriStar. My good friend Wissam Zahabi, my cousin. I cured you, didn't I? Look at you, what a fine soldier you are today. Okay, guys, what else we got here? Coach, I'm a 19-year-old. Oh, boy. What else we got here? You missed my super chat, did I? Yeah, I got so many super chats today. Okay, I'm scrolling back up real far. I'm not seeing any super chat. Tips on training during COVID. Wow, that's a tough one, guys. Get home. Listen, I've been tested over 10 times personally. Get people who are tested, who are being confined also, and just kind of like train in the basement. You know, that's the best you can do. Coach, did we see Khabib's peak in his last fight? Do you think he has higher gears he could have shown if someone gave him more trouble? That's for Muhammad. I think so, because he was so head and shoulders above. I never saw him in stress. I never saw him in a bad position or fight out of any type of adversity. And in my opinion, he has a heart of a lion. So there was more. That's what was so scary about that fight. Is it wasn't as competitive as we were expecting it to be. It was very one-sided. Khabib doesn't really get in trouble in fights. When was the last time we saw him in trouble? A lot of people make, they tell me in the guillotine that Dustin Poirier put on him. Yeah, that was a good guillotine, but we've seen fighters get in a lot more trouble than that. So he hasn't been in a lot of trouble. Khabib has fought and been very dominant and stayed out of being dominant. He's always the one dominating, which is very impressive because he's in he's in the most competitive space there is in sports. Okay, guys, an hour and 32 minutes in. Let's bank in the last one here. Only physical punishment can cure. That's from Weil. Listen, I didn't say that. I didn't say that only physical punishment can cure, but it's sometimes a necessary evil. But use that always as a last resort. Like, let's not give it for free here. Okay, TD, you missed my super chat. TD, I'm going to go all the way back. I'm going to try to scroll back for you here, because TD is really wanting me to answer super chat. TD, why don't you just type it in the thingamajigger? Because I'm not seeing it. I'm scrolling back here. I do my best not to miss your super chats, but there is a lot of messages running through. All right, TD, just post your chat again for me. TD should have paid more than. No, it's not a question about the money, guys. I just missed it. I was going off on a rant. There are 2,877 viewers right now. Let's give them something entertaining. Let's give them something entertaining. Guys, somebody please, all of you guys, just copy his question. What was TD's question? I'm like, TD, how would Terry Reiner do in MMA? World Judo champ. Well, I got to tell you, I'm not familiar with Terry Reiner. If he's a world champion in judo, he has good ground, he has good takedowns, but there's no gi, so his takedowns, it have to be a very specific type of jiu-jitsu, or a very unique type of jiu-jitsu. Excuse me, not jiu-jitsu, judo. Judokas are also very strong, physically strong. They're constantly throwing. They have strong backs. If he has a tough character, if he can take a punch, I think he can go very far. This is me saying this without me knowing him. But if he's a world champion in judo, I got to tell you something. I believe he's super tough mentally, because to become a world champion in judo, you got to be tough. He's already got good ground game, because judos, they're good on the ground. And He's got a phenomenal takedown. My only thing that makes me uncomfortable is his whole game based on the gi, or can he adapt from taking off the gi? Because that makes a big difference to some. To some, it's crippling when they take off the gi, and to some, they find their way without the gi. So that would be the one thing that remains to be seen. Okay, we got another one here. Are head kick KOs common in sparring? They have been a couple of recently at my friend's gym. That's from Mike Goodwin. Well, I'll tell you something. If somebody throws a head kick KO in my gym, he's gonna get in trouble. It should not happen. When you throw a head kick, it should be controlled. Now, I can't say it's never happened. It's happened very rarely. And first thing, I'd be like, hey, don't ever let that happen again. And if it happens again, the guy's out at the gym. Okay. If you kick somebody in the head, you have to be controlled. Today, I saw one of my fighters get kicked in the head. Okay. Well, two of my fighters were sparring. And without a shin pad, we're sparring today, small gloves, no shin pad, because we also spar sometimes no shin pad. And it was the guy, one of the fighters threw the kick and stopped it right here. Those are pros. Pros won't hurt you. If a pro doesn't want to hurt you and he's truly a pro, he won't hurt you. There's no need for that. When we have shin guards and headgear on and full gear, then we kick and we give it a little taste. Okay, but we don't knock each other out. That's a really bad injury. Okay, you don't want to get knocked out regularly. This is really, I always tell guys, don't break each other's legs with leg locks. Don't knock each other out. Don't break each other's ribs with punches, because next week it's going to be your turn. You know, the guys ain't going to be happy. They're going to be like, hey, that guy broke my rib. Oh, he broke your rib. Yeah, he hurt my rib too. Let's go get him in practice. Let's go teach him a lesson. Tonight we'll spar, wait for the right moment, then give him one. That's what happens in the gym. Okay, so you got to keep a respect between each other, trust between each other. I think it has a lot to do with the trainer, because me, before my guys spar, I always tell them, guys, I give different speeches, but before practice, I bring everybody in. Okay, guys, number one here is you do not injure your partner. You are responsible for your partner. I always tell them that. If your partner gets injured during your sparring, you are 100% to blame. Don't give me an excuse. I don't want to hear it. Make sure you do not injure your partners. And I tell my fighters, look, sometimes I get fighters who injure other people. I tell them, who's going to train with you? I always tell people, if there's a guy in the gym who's a little too rough, I tell guys, hey guys, don't spar with this guy. He's too rough. He doesn't respect the team. Doesn't respect us. And I'll put pressure on him, or I'll talk to him on the side, or I'll figure out a way. But I don't want guys coming in the gym and fighting and breaking each other's bones. It's nonsensical. It makes no sense. Okay. So I would talk to your coach. Ask your coach for a sit down. Tell him, hey, Coach Zahabi says it shouldn't be like that. It doesn't have to be like that. And you can become very skilled. Actually, you'll become more skilled, in my opinion, because you have the confidence to train more often. And then if you train more, you'll get better. Whereas other gyms, the guy's always injured all the time. People are always injured. You have no training partners in the practice room. For us, have you ever been hit to the head bad in training or competition? That's from Money Mayweather 3. I've been kicked in the head once really badly that I lost my vision. And I was holding pads. So in sparring, I've never been kicked in the head and dropped. Never. It's never happened. The guys I train with are very controlled. And, it's always, there's always a safety there. I've been in rough sparrings, but I don't do that on a regular. And one time I was holding pads, however, and the pro I was training kicks really hard, missed the pad, hit me in the head. Bing, like shin on shin. And I wasn't expecting it. It hit me, boom. And my whole left side went like colors, like just like, and he was like, oh, I'm so sorry. I'm like, it's okay. Don't worry about it. Keep going. And we kept training, and I ignored the colors. And my vision on my left side was completely like gone. It was like it's like if I had a sun in my face. Like I just couldn't see. I trained them for about 30, 40 minutes left. We had 30, 40 minutes left. I sat down on the mat, no vision on my left side. I sat down. I knew something was wrong. I didn't say a word. I acted totally normal. Hey guys, what's up? I was shaking hands and people were saying hello to me. Members were training and I was acting perfectly normal. Then when the training session was over, I went and I sat down. I was just kind of hanging out until my vision came back. My vision got a lot better. And then I went home. And then I came back for the evening practice. I just kept training and I didn't have any concussion symptoms. But I did lose vision, I would say, for at least an hour. And maybe an hour, 20 minutes. I had like this light in my face. I was not seeing proper. After it calmed down, I didn't feel like I needed to go to hospital. I went home. I relaxed. I ate. I got recharged for practice at night and started training again. That was the biggest injury I ever had from a strike to the head. Should I do 50% rolling and 50% drilling? I'm a white belt who want to get better. Jazakallah. Adam, I would say start with 100% drilling. Do that for 3 months. And then start with flow rolling. Okay? Then switch to 80% drilling, 20% rolling, and then get to 50-50 slowly. Because there's no point in rolling if you don't know what to do. Okay? There's really little point. Unless you're rolling with an expert, because then you can observe. But if you're two beginners, don't roll. Just drill. Okay, if you're two beginners. Coach, what's your favorite healthy restaurant in Montreal? That's from Arvin. Ooh, that's such a tough one, man. I'll tell you guys what my favorite restaurant is Damas on Van Horn. Shout out to my friend Mark from Damas. You have the best restaurant in town. If you don't believe me, go on what do you call it? Yelp. Look up Damas, Delta Alpha, Mike Alpha, Sierra, and look up Damas. It is the best restaurant, guys. The food is just unbelievable, and they serve you fresh bread. It's just incredible. Healthy restaurant, I would say my own kitchen. You know, I put together my favorite foods. What do you think about the closing of the gyms in Montreal? That's from Khalid. All right, Khalid, I'm going to end it with this question because they have closed our gyms again. Can I tell you all something? I really think that the pandemic, okay, we got to leave it to the experts and all that. But I have questions that I would love to ask these experts. Why don't they just close everything down for 4 weeks? Think about it. If you close everything down, because now right now the schools are open, but the restaurants are closed. In the spring, the restaurants were open and the schools were closed. So now they close the restaurants, they open the schools. Like you're closing one door, you're opening another. You're closing one door, you're opening another. Like my kids go to school, they hang out with your kids. Whatever you have in your home now has been transmitted to my home via my kids, and whatever's in my home is transmitted to your home via your kids. And our kids are all going to school, and don't tell me they're wearing their masks, because my baby girl, she doesn't put the mask on right, and she touches it 25 times a day. It's more of a COVID magnet than anything else. She can't properly, if you know anything about wearing a mask, it's got to be worn in a certain way. These kids are not wearing it perfectly. I picked them up from the bus, and they're all like, the bus, it's just a giant like wrestling match of kids. They're not able to separate children. And the malls are open, IKEA's open, but the gyms are closed. Like, it just makes no sense. Instead of going to the gym at night, you're going to go to the mall at night. And at the mall, you're going to sit with your friends, you're going to meet with your friends, you're going to touch things, you're going to, touch different surfaces, you're going to stand in line next to people. It's just nonsense. It's crazy. If you close everything down for 4 weeks, you're either going to survive COVID or die from COVID. But if you died from COVID, it had nothing to do with the shutdown. The shutdown actually helped your chances to survive because there'll be less people in the hospitals, less people getting contaminated. And then you'll see a massive dip in COVID. And then we can reintroduce public life again, but with new measures. I understand that if it won't eradicate COVID, but when we go back, we can start spreading it again. Yes, but we can do it we could train in a much more intelligent fashion. Groups of 4, sanitizing the gym in different ways, more elaborate ways, keeping distance when it's not necessary to be in contact with each other. Of course, if you're going to grapple, you should know who you're grappling with. Me, every member that was coming in the gym when we were reopened, I was taking their temperature, and if somebody was sick, I would call them, follow up with them, ask them to get tested. I would know who they train with. I would ask those people not to come to the gym anymore, or to suspend their membership till everybody's cleared from COVID, or like tested negative for COVID, I should say. I was taking protocols. And I think if we do that, we can really control. I think it's a much stronger strategy than what we're doing now. I'm observing the strategy they're doing. Every day I'll read up what they're doing here in Quebec. And I think it doesn't seem like the best plan to me. I hate to say it. And here's the other thing. The aviation industry, I don't know if you guys are, one of my favorite books. I want you all to buy this book. Okay, this is not my sponsor. I want you guys to all buy this book. It's called Black box thinking. Somebody wrote me earlier a life-changing audiobook. Here's one. I'm going to name you guys this book. It's written by Matthew Syed. Matthew Syed, S-Y-E-D. S-Y-E-D. Matthew Syed. Black box thinking. Get the book. Get the audiobook. Get the Kindle, whatever it is you want. Get the hard copy, whatever you want. Read that book. He's comparing the aviation industry to the medical industry. The aviation industry is always superior. Why? In every measurement. Because they got skin in the game, man. If that plane crashes, the pilot dies with you. And I'm not going to get into all the details of why they have skin in the game, etc. But the point being is this. Look at the aviation industry, what they did during COVID. They had a breakouts in March. Look it up. I just recently read an article on this. Okay. Before they knew about COVID, it was, or soon after, they had flights contaminated. People were catching COVID on the plane. Then they took new measures. When you get in on the plane, I've flown many times during COVID. You have to disinfect your area. You have to wear a mask. There's an empty seat. There's a certain amount of people. They board you in a certain way. They deboard you in a certain way. So when it's time to deboard, the first rows go out first so that you don't have to pass by anybody. They had new protocols. When they serve you your snacks, it's in a sanitized bag. You don't get service like we used to get. Now your water is in the bag, your cookies are in the bag, and here it is. That bag's been sanitized. They give it to you. They're not going to have any more contact with you. When you get off the plane, they disinfect the plane. When people get back on the plane, they disinfect their area also. It's brilliant. And now what are the statistics? Well, I'll tell you the statistics. If the plane is full, it's 1 out of 4,400. Your chances of catching COVID on a flight. If there's an empty seat between you and the other passenger, now your chances are about 1 in 7,500. They have introduced new measures to lower the contamination of COVID, the spread of COVID. Now, we've all heard it before. They're not trying to eliminate COVID. They're trying to flatten the curve because eliminating COVID is probably not in the cards. It's going to be around for a long time, unless there's a vaccine. Okay, and vaccines can take a very, very long time. However, they are talking about flattening the curve. I'm not going to get into details on exactly what that means, but they don't want everybody to get it so fast that it overwhelms the medical the medical community. They don't want the hospitals to be overcrowded. What's a better way to flatten the curve? We've been in isolation. We've been in lockdown for like 8 months. 8 months. Why not close everything down for 4 weeks? Everything, schools, malls, gyms, 4 weeks. You're either going to have COVID. If you had COVID, you're either going to survive it or die. Okay, but if you died, it had nothing to do with the shutdown. You have more chances to survive. Then what? Reintroduce society back into the public in a very controlled way. Exactly what the airlines did. They shut down. They decided new ways to go about allowing people aboard, etc. They went. Now when you go in the airport, I was just there like 2 weeks ago. When they identify you with a camera, it takes your temperature. They have new technology already, and soon cameras are going to be measuring everybody. They're going to have infrared cameras that measure everybody. Heat sensitive cameras that measure everybody's temperature. If somebody has a fever, boom, they notice that guy in the crowd has a fever. Get him out of here. Like, they're adapting in a very intelligent way. It doesn't surprise me. There's so much on the line. There's so much money on the line. There's so much risk on the line. People are flying through the air. I mean, they could literally take a person who's sick, bring them to the other side of the world, and start a new spread. Like, the aviation industry is very crucial to stopping the spread of COVID. Why aren't other industries just as intelligent? Why do you close one door? You don't allow people to go to the restaurants, but then you allow them to go to school, and then you stop the schools and you open the restaurants. Why are we chasing our tail here? Close everything down for 4 weeks. People are starting to riot around the world now. There's riots in Poland, riots in Italy, riots in Australia. They don't want to be confined no more. Riots in the US. Hey, we don't want to be pushed at home. Now in Italy, they put a curfew from what I hear. It's nuts, man. People are going to lose their mind. Now they've extended us. Here in Quebec, we're in a 28-day lockdown. We're just finishing a 28-day lockdown. Code red. Now they just extended it another 28 days. People are losing their mind. People are losing their temper. It should be, guys, we're closing for 28 days, but we guarantee you a reopening. We have a strategy for you coming in the next 2 weeks. We're going to close the school. We're going to close everything down for 28 days. And we're going to reopen. And we're going to be intelligent about COVID. And life is going to go on. But we're going to have new measures. And everybody can participate. Everybody, restaurants, everything's going to be open. But here are the criteria to be open. This is my opinion, is what they should do. What they have done, in my opinion, has made no sense whatsoever. But again, who am I? These guys are experts. And I got to be locked out again. It's tough, guys. I know it's tough for you all. It's tough for me. But I think we should be allowed to cross-examine them, question these authorities, bring them out, get them on the news. Get me on. I know one news reporter called me, and he called me and he's like, "Oh yeah, I couldn't make it that evening, but he was having like a panel," and I was like, "Man, I want to be on that panel. I want to be there in front of the experts. I want to ask them all these questions because they're asking me, hey, what are you doing in your gym for COVID?" I said, "Oh, that's great. I'm ready. I'm really happy to tell you what I'm doing. But I would love to if they want to cross-examine me, fantastic. Cross-examine me. But I would love to cross-examine them also. I want to ask them, why are they so adamant about keeping us locked in for 8 months? If somebody gets sick, they're only sick for 2 weeks. Well, if you're positive for COVID, they send you home for 2 weeks. Why am I home for 8 months? And here's the other question I will tell you. Why am I running from a disease that I need a test to tell me if I have it? Like at my age and I have no pre-existing conditions, I'm very fit or whatnot, my chances are less than 1% from dying from COVID. From what I've read, from what I understand, I would want to confirm with an expert. It's very low for me, for dying from a person like me to die from COVID is very low. Why can't I go to work? I'm smart enough not to go to mom and grandma's house. I won't go to my parents' house, and I won't go to grandma's house either. Okay, I'm smart enough not to do that. All you got to do is tell me, hey, if you go to work, stay away from the elderly, stay away from people from pre-existing condition. They should be isolated, not me. I got to go out there and I got a job to do. But they think I'm so, the government thinks, hey, Coach is such a little baby. If we let him out in the world, he's going to go see grandma and kiss her on the cheek and she's going to get sick and die. That's what they imagine to themselves. Guys, if I get COVID, my chances of survival are extremely high. That's the truth. Why can't people like me go out in the world and keep the economy going? That's my question. I would love to ask that. Am I so incompetent that I can't stay away from, or so undisciplined I can't stay away from my grandmother? You think I'm not aware that, hey, if I go to grandma's house, she's going to get sick and die? I might be asymptomatic. Am I so unable to juggle my life and staying away from grandma? I'm already, by the way, guys, I'm been locked down for 8 months. I used to see my parents on the regular. My kids and my parents, they're like this, they're super tight. Me and my parents and my kids, we're very close. I eat at my parents' house on a regular basis. I haven't been in my parents' house in months. We talk to them. Sometimes they pass by my house. We talk to them from afar. And sometimes we have a coffee from afar. Like in the summertime, they'll chill, but meters away. My kids, they don't care when it comes to my kids. I personally don't go near them, but my kids will run. They can't stay away from my kids. So there is a breach there. I'll admit there is definitely a breach. However, that's something my parents choose. I can't stop them. I can't tell them, hey, don't come near the kids. You could die. That's a chance they want to take. See, they're adults. They can decide for themselves. Plus, I'm regularly tested. So if my kids have it, I would have probably had a positive test. And I usually would take my kids to my parents' house after I get a negative test. And I've been tested many times. Now, I'll tell you something. I'm a big boy. I can go to work. I can go to the mall. I can do whatever I want. I won't go to grandma's house. The people who have pre-existing conditions, the people who are 60 and up, the people who are really at risk, I think the government should isolate them, make a whole program for them. Let's pitch in. Let's throw in tax money towards them, make them comfortable, keep them healthy, keep them happy, entertain them, give them the best medical treatment you can. Like, I'm all for them being taken care of. But I got to say, I feel like I'm being put in a timeout here. I'm a grown man. I need to go out and earn my living. Do what I got to do. My generation, we're not going to remain confined for another 8 months. Like, we're going to lose our minds here. And I think that we need a better explanation on why we're being confined. Why is COVID so scary to the government? I still don't understand. And I read their articles and I read their studies and I understand it's spiking. It's spreading faster than the flu. I get it. But I know about 10 people who've had COVID. Honestly, I know about 10 people. Only one of them told me it hurt bad. Oh, he was hurting for 4 days. It was really bad. Now, I know other people that are old. I know one guy who's older and he's really suffering. Okay, so I don't want to say, but the people around my age who've had it, I know about 10, wasn't that bad. So why can't people my age and younger? It's a mind-boggling question. Why are we being confined? It's just nuts. Totally nuts. While my kids can still go to school. Listen, my kids can go to school, play with 1,000 other kids and come home to me. But I can't go and wrestle. I can't go train. I can't go hit the bag because I'll be exposed. Dude, I'm already exposed. My children go to school. Whoever the kids they play with, they're exposed from their home. It's just insanity. Insanity. But here in Quebec, for those of you who don't know, the liquor store is still open. Why? It's owned by the government. The weed store is still open. Why? It's owned by the government. It's owned by the government. And the mall is open. And schools are open. That's owned by the government. And I don't know what else is open. Like, it's insanity. That's how I'm starting to see the world. Now, please forgive me if I've offended anybody, but this is how I see it, man. I've been confined in my house for over 8 months now. I'm losing it. It's really an uncomfortable situation. I'm finding it getting crazy here. When they first had the lockdown, I thought, oh, it's going to be a week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks, 1 month. Here we are 8 months later. Now they're saying 28 more days. Holy moly, guys. Holy moly. I'm seriously going to consider moving to a place. If this keeps going, man, I gotta pack up. I gotta pick up and go, man. Because this ain't living here in your home all day long. In your home. What the? It's crazy, man. It's just insane. Okay, guys, I'm gonna do one more question because I don't wanna down our lives here on this depressing question. Let's do one last one. Something more cheery. Something a little more positive. No need for super chats, guys. I'm taking the happy question now. Something happier. We're closing in on 2 hours. Move to Texas. Hey, don't tempt me, man. I'll come. I love Texas. You know, Coach loves barbecue. Don't say that 3 times. The third time I'm gonna pack and come on down. Did you know that Khabib didn't do the armbar on purpose? He went for the triangle choke so he didn't hurt Justin in front of his parents. That's from Zimpao. Zimpao, I totally believe that. I don't know if that is true. I haven't read that in every interview. But he did have the shotgun armbar. He did. He had that armbar is brutal, guys. I teach it in my guard pass prevention video. It's a brutal armbar. I teach from the bottom. And he had it, you're right. And he switched it to a triangle. And that does not surprise me in the least, guys. Honestly, I gotta say. Because Justin wouldn't give up on armbar. Choke, you have no choice. You're going to go to sleep. It's tap or nap. That's what they say. Armbar, Justin, he might let it break. Maybe, maybe not. So I'm glad Khabib didn't break his arm. You know, it's such a gentlemanly thing to do. And it's a beautiful thing that he did that. And honestly, I believe it. I believe it 100% that Khabib would make that decision. I agree. I am from New Brunswick, Canada. Texas is looking pretty good right now. That's from Bailey Wright. Bailey Wright, you're very wise, my friend. We might have to move soon. Let's see who wins the presidential election first, actually. I have a feeling that if Trump wins, things are going to open up again. If Trump loses, things are going to get shut down and constricted. Not that I'm left or right or anything. Not that I'm a Trump fan. I'm not a fan of Trump. Okay, so I'm more just being honest here. I think Trump would open business up. And I don't think we should do it reckless. I don't think we should do it Trump's way. I don't know what way he would. I'm not trying to agree with him. I'm just saying I think business will open up. And if the left wins, I think businesses are going to close back down. But they might come up with a more strategic and more intelligent way to go about it. I don't know. But I would expect that from them, to come up with an intelligent strategy. Does the gym open on the 29th? That's from Suki Vega. So for those of you who don't understand this question, we were supposed to in Quebec open up on the 29th. No, they've extended another 28 days from what I understand. So we're back on the merry-go-round. Coach, I box 5 days a week, but I need to lose fat and build muscle. What is the best way to do so? Boxing is great for losing fat, but to build muscle, you're going to have to do calisthenics or lift weights. Okay, so make sure you do your boxing workout, you burn some fat. Then maybe a second training during the day or after your boxing workout, do some calisthenics. Okay, body weight squats, push-ups, pull-ups, kettlebell is great. Or barbell. If you get a barbell, you add muscle even faster. DC confirmed that, coach. That's from the ADM. Well, you know what? That's a beautiful thing that Khabib did that. And I have utmost respect for him for making that decision. That's amazing. Incredible. Do you know Gervonta Davis? No, Michael. Unfortunately, I do not know this person. My apologies. Coach, move to Vancouver. That's from Bang Baba. You know what? I love Vancouver, and I heard that they're very open. But I feel like the Canadian government could step in any day now. And because there might be a spread there shortly. I don't know if it spreads there. I find like the Canadian government is more about safety and less about business, and overly so. Like they won't let us make our own choices. Whereas in the States, it's kind of like, hey, you want to go out? Go out, your own risk. Be smart. Use your brain. Don't go to grandma's house right after you go to the grappling club. Use your head. And I think I fit more in that kind of model because I am that type of person. And I don't feel I want to be forced to run away from something that wouldn't harm me, or I don't feel would harm me very badly. Okay. All right, guys, let's end it. Let's do one last question. Coach, Thailand is doing well. Visit till that's Bang Baba. I just saw in the news recently you guys are having riots. They don't want to be confined no more, and there was another riot over a political party. But guys, I've been to Thailand many times. I love Thailand. J'aime Thailand très incroyablement. J'adore Thailand. I love Thailand. Thailand is one of the most beautiful places in the world. I love Muay Thai. I love the people, how humble they are, how sweet they are, how kind they are. And I would love to visit Thailand. To live there would be a bit difficult for me because I have so much family here in the West. I have a large family here in the West. So for me, it would be hard to live in Thailand. But if I could bring my whole family with me, Thailand would be one of the places I would want to live. It would be a serious contender. I love Thailand, the people, the culture, the friendliness, the food, the Muay Thai everywhere. It's amazing. I would love the weather. Also, I like the tropical heat and all that. What a country you must visit. Okay, guys, thank you all. With that said, I want to thank you all for tuning in. If you guys enjoyed this episode, please leave a like. Please do. Please leave a comment, something positive, something nice. I'd be very grateful. And I will see you all in the next episode. Thank you very much.